As you're aware, Christy, Inis Oirr won the Golden Mile competition in 2010. Can you give me some reasons why it was the winner last year, the overall winner?
Well, I have to say, it certainly was a winner. It really was a winner, and that's judges actually feel when they go into a Golden Mile area that work has been done here. Now, you know, from the outside, people would think that a place like Inis Oirr is a winner anyway. It's not. Just because it's a beautiful place, that doesn't mean that it will or should win the Golden Mile. The Golden Mile is about something totally different. It's about all of the elements. We have to just put that particular thing of its own natural beauty into a box. We have to park that while we're judging.
And tell me, what are the elements?
Well,
because these are also categories under which other miles may win prizes.
Well, it was a very safe mile. Very, very safe mile. It was a wonderful mile to walk. We saw absolutely no sign of litter anywhere. What we did see though, is we saw wonderful built heritage. Now, the built heritage of the particular mile, a lot was made up with stone walls, but all of the different types of walls. There were features in the fields. There were wonderful signs painted on stone, pointing out all of the features, the little roadings that went down to wells, secular wells, holy wells. The natural heritage, there was a wonderful mix. Obviously, we didn't have a wooded landscape, but you had a totally different type of biodiversity on that island. An amazing mix of plant life, and that was all shown to us in the application form. Everything was pointed out was in the application form, so that was very, very important. But what was really important there was that the school, the local school, and the school children were involved in that particular project.
And the school itself was along the mile, wasn't it?
School is just, what we normally don't do, but because of the fact that the school was so involved, we actually visited the school on that particular day of judging. We were welcomed at the school. The children, the various classes, were the people that were involved initially in it, with their teachers, in putting together that application and the particular Golden Mile itself. On the mile, you could see traces of the children's work everywhere. And the local community, the broader community as well. You could see it was obvious that there was more than the school involved, but the school was involved. So that meant for us that a whole new generation of people were actually going to be aware of their own heritage and their culture. The mile started off nice and softly. We had our start sign, Oscailga. We ended up walking the mile with views left, right and centre. We were able to pick up on features that was pointed out to us, such as the Plessie, the ship that ran aground a number of years ago. We had a lighthouse, not at the end of the mile, but after the end of the mile, that stood just part of the vista of the mile. In the middle of the mile, we had this wonderful magical garden set in a hollow in the landscape, that the children, an organic garden, that the children were actually learning about their own landscape and how to grow the potatoes, how to plant flowers, how to plant vegetables, that fruit trees there. Absolutely amazing. You could see that this mile was alive. It was actually peopled. You know, you actually saw that there was a generation in this mile of young people, and you could see a huge input here. So the mile itself literally jumped out as it. It ticked all of the boxes. Litter-free, safe, wonderful natural heritage, wonderful built heritage, and a huge community input. Everything about that mile smacked of winner. Now, that means that when you see something like that, you then have to come back. We come back, we carry our notes backwards, we have to sit down and we have to mark off one mile against the other. Judging the mile, or marking up the mile after, is a difficult task, because you have all of these things to take into consideration. As I say, a lot of people feel that when you go into a special place like that, that it's a winner. That's not the case. It's actually harder for the judges to judge a place that's so beautiful. And if you look over the history of the Golden Mile over its last 8 years or so, you will see that different places, different types of mile have won in different years. So each area has its own type of mile that I can actually present. There's no box that you can clearly put them into, but what we have is our categories that we mark under. The most important thing is that you actually show that the community has been involved in that sense. That's very, very important. we have come across situations where we know that the miles have been maybe singular or maybe driven by particular community groups, but that the broader community haven't been involved in. And that's very obvious when you come out and somebody approaches you and wonder what you're doing on the mile or who are ye. It's very apparent to us, very, very quickly that there's people on this mile that actually don't know that this is a golden mile or this has been put forward. And that in itself is an X in the box.
Right.
Now, you know, there can be people within communities that won't engage. We understand that too.